Okay, folks, so we should be already good to go with 7A. We should have watched that, and now we should be on 7B here. Okay, so 7B refers to Justinian, who's the most important emperor in the history of the Byzantine Empire. And we'll get to him in a second. But first, if you see Mr. Nolan in the hallways, okay, make sure that you congratulate him every time the New England Patriots win a game. Okay, we just had a conversation earlier today, him and I, about how great Bill Belichick is. Okay, Mr. Nolan has a lot of respect for Mr. Belichick. He is a big fan of the Patriots, and he's looking forward to hearing from you guys and making sure you congratulate him every time the Patriots win. So, unfortunately, the Washington football team isn't uh, in the playoffs anymore, but the Patriots are. So, make sure you alert Mr. Nolan of that fact whenever possible. Okay, so Justinian. He is the most important and celebrated emperor in the history of this Byzantine Empire. Okay, and basically the reason he is so important and so celebrated is he contributes to the growth of the empire by doing three key things. Number one, he reconquers old Roman territory. We're going to talk about it. Number two, he expands trade, okay, all into Asia, across the Mediterranean Sea, into northern Africa. We'll talk about it in a second. And he creates new and marvelous public works. Okay, he makes Byzantine like just a better place to live. Okay, better buildings, it's more beautiful architecture, etc., etc., etc. In addition to just giving people jobs and allowing them to work. So, Justinian's military conquests. Okay, so when he is in power, okay, again, we don't worry too much about dates in this class, but just for reference, 527 to 565 CE. Okay, and he's going to reconquer much of the old Roman territory. Okay, so when we talk about the old Roman territory, here's what we're talking about. Okay, so we have that split between the west and the east, and this area in purple is the Byzantine Empire. Okay, and then Justinian actually goes in and he conquers kind of some of this old stuff that Rome used to have. Obviously, Rome, parts of North Africa, Carthage, a little bit of Spain. So, as you can see here, okay, Justinian adds a whole bunch of territory to the Byzantine Empire. So the Byzantine Empire like almost has just as much wealth and territory as the old Roman Empire. So just as impressive, okay? Now, Constantinople, we went over this a little bit in the last video, but it's called the Gateway to the East. Okay, so if we look here, we see Constantinople is kind of the bridge that links west over here and east over here. So Constantinople has access to all of these major trade routes. Okay, they have the Silk Road, okay, trade with Asia. They have access to the Mediterranean Sea, okay, very important sea trading. We've been over how the Greeks and the Romans, okay, and the Phoenicians and the Carthaginians were Mediterranean sea traders. Byzantines, same exact thing. Okay, and then they have access to Africa through the Mediterranean Sea as well. Alright, so basically Silk Road, okay, that's going to be what links west to east, and it runs right through Constantinople. Okay, so on your maps, at least in my class, you will have to label a Silk Road, and we should know where the Mediterranean Sea is. Okay, and I hope we know where Africa is. We're going to get more into that next unit with Islam, but we should know where that is. Okay, Justinian's probably most famous thing, that thing he's most known for, is probably this code of laws. Okay, so Justinian's code is what it's actually called. Alright, and basically he took Greek law and he took Roman law and he kind of codified it, which means he basically like took it and like synthesized it and just put it all together and made it one cohesive unit, and it's called Justinian's code. So he took like the best parts from Greece, the best parts from Rome, and then he kind of made it his own, and that's what's called Justinian code. Okay, so these laws and principles will have a big impact on the world, particularly in Europe. So just some examples. Okay, in Justinian's code, women get more rights. Okay, we have, obviously addressing issues like robbery, murder, inheritance. You won't have to know the specifics of this, okay, but it's interesting to look at if you want to pause the video and check it out. Okay, so the key here, once again, is that the Byzantines preserved Greek and Roman knowledge. Okay, so they did it through libraries, churches, art, architecture. Okay, so they took everything the Greeks and the Romans knew and they kept it alive. Okay, because in the western part of the empire, okay, it was like falling apart with invasions and barbarians and lack of knowledge. Okay, but the Byzantines kept it all alive so that now we have it today. Very important. They spoke Greek, okay, as opposed to Latin in the west. So in the west they spoke Latin, in the east they're going to speak Greek. Okay, and then they're going to introduce a very important religion, which is called Greek Orthodox Christianity. So it's kind of like a split between, it splits off from the Roman Catholic Church. We're going to go more into it in the next video. But basically they produce mosaics and churches, including the Hagia Sophia. And we're going to go more on this in the next video. But here's an example of that church, famous church in Constantinople. Obviously very beautiful, still remaining today. Very impressive if you ever get a chance to go see it. Okay, another view there, another angle. So when we talk about mosaics, it just basically means, okay, big religious paintings, or they could even be small religious paintings, but they used kind of a style where it was almost like little tiny dots that make up a bigger part of the whole. So kind of a new style there. We'll go into a little more depth, obviously, with our mosaic project. But that's basically it for 7B and C. Thanks for watching the video.